Cock-a-doodle-doo, and congratulations to our dear old mate Craig Cumming. He's the coach of the Otago Sparks as well, you know, people, and they won the Hallyburton Johnstone Shield, which is the 50-over domestic competition over the weekend. And we wanted to catch up today, mate, and not talk about Australia versus New Zealand, and want to pick your brains as coach. Now, if I'm not okay to say this, you pointed out, but last year you were coach, you did okay. You had to go through the review process again, and it's always a nervous time, isn't it? You got given that job back, and you started with this team for the second year. So at the beginning of the year, Craig, what were you targeting in terms of performance, results, and what you wanted to win?
Yeah, it's always an interesting one, Marty. I've actually done this job now for 4 years, but 2 of them were very part-time because I was working at Otago Boys. And we won this title 2 years ago, but it was when COVID was, hit us and we didn't have any white ferns available, whereas this year it's very different. But, yeah, at the start of the year, it's that balance between, what does success look like? And it's really important that in the women's game, and, I talk a lot, we're still developing. We're still developing young athletes who need to understand what a performance mindset looks like and what performance habits look like. So that's really important when it comes to the long-term goal. But, of course, you want to have success and, you want to be able to do well and enjoy winning games of cricket, because if you're doing that, normally that means you are progressing up the staircase and learning to do things better. And this year, the girls work exceptionally hard. They train morning and night. They do extra stuff, and they're not really paid for it. So, their mindsets are fantastic. But we also want to see them progress on the field. But we're also going through a thing, Marty, where they're getting paid a lot more now. So we've got to deal with the pressures that go with, performing. And for the first time ever in the Sparks, we had to leave players out of the 11 and the 12 who were probably good enough in the past to ban it. So there's a whole lot of new stuff we're going through. But for me, the greatest, I suppose, area is seeing players develop. And when I say develop, it's seeing them doing things for the first time that they haven't done out in the middle, or doing it consistently. And this year we've been able to do it. We had to win our last 5 games, Marty, to win the title. We had to win our last 4 to even make the final. So for me, that's a really exciting thing, that I've got players who, can probably handle a bit of pressure. They can handle the do or die of playing the game, and they can actually just focus still on their performance and going out and performing as a team. And they were able to do that, and we had a couple of players in the weekend stand up who have had a bit of a tough Super Smash period where they didn't play as well as they'd like, but they've bounced back, they've learned their lessons, and then on Sunday they played, a couple of players played cameo innings, which were just really, really awesome and so satisfying to see. So there are so many boxes you want to tick, Marty, but as you know, you can't beat winning champagne, and you can't beat sitting at the end of the season, sitting in a circle with your players that you've got a lot of time for and you've worked with, and seeing them smile and celebrate as a team and create a memory, Marty. And I mean it. When you win a title and you have that, 4 or 5 hours afterwards, that's a memory and photos and videos that will never, ever go away, and it's so satisfying to see these girls have that.
Earlier in the year, when you were playing the T20 competition, there was a couple of games there, and I remember one at Eden Park Outer Oval where you had the game an absolute win and you blew it. The players choked it and played some really bad shots. And I remember afterwards you saying how down they felt, how they felt they'd let each other down and all of that kind of stuff. And as a coach, you go through those highs and lows throughout a season. What are you learning about yourself about how to cope with that, and how better to be able to explain to the players that this is the snake that is playing sport? You are going to get these moments, and then resurrect that.
Yeah, and it's been probably in some ways, and you actually, I remember our interview after, the Super Smash, we were chatting about something, and you said to me, what have I learned? And it was actually a really good question, because I actually had been sitting down, and it was a really good marker for me to make sure I'm always looking at myself. And my job is to create, along with the other coaches, an environment that allows the players to learn. And when I looked at it, I thought, well, that was actually a failing on my behalf. When we played Auckland and we didn't do it, when we didn't get to the finals of the Super Smash, that was on me, because we had some things happen that I could have helped us probably, learn before we had to have the exam before, or had the lesson before the exam. And, one thing I've done actually a little bit different, I've been a little bit more directive, Marty, around certain things when it comes to game plan, preparation. But even during a game, I'm not a big one for sending out messages or for giving instructions. But I have done that a little bit more when I've recognised a situation, because our players don't know everything yet. They're still very young in their journey of being cricketers. They don't grow up playing cricket, 3 times a week like the boys do. So you've got to be a little bit more directive in helping them at times, and that's something I probably haven't done. That maybe I'm doing it a wee bit more. I'm not sending them out with a book, Marty. I don't tell them with instructions. But the other day we were 60 for 3 off 20 overs, and we were digging a bit of a hole batting-wise. And I just sent out a message, hey, go out there and play with some freedom. I don't care if we're bowled out, but we've got to try and score runs. And in the next 2 overs we hit 24, and then the game changed in that time. And in the past, Marty, I might have just sat back and said, right, come on, girls, come on, and I'm waiting for it to happen. I put more directive in that, and because they just needed a little bit of a confidence boost, and we kick up the bum in some ways, because they'll do what you tell them, and then the rest is history. So, for me, that's a big one, and making sure I do my preparation really, really well so I can help them with their preparation as well.
When you have a player like Susie Bates, the influence that somebody who is at that level on the younger players in your team, and as a coach, I just want to pick your brains as a coach, do you at that stage have to sit back and let a player like that actually almost be a coach as well with some of those young players?
I've actually done the opposite with Susie. Since I took over the side and the last couple of years, I've actually told Susie I want her to come back and be the best player that she can be and not worry about everyone else. Because for so long, Susie Bates carried every team she played for, but especially the Sparks. And I actually, in our environment, I want me as a coach to actually help her as a player. So I want to be able to turn up and be motivated and inspired to get better herself, and for me to be able to provide that direction for her. And then when she turns up on a game day, I just want her to worry about Susie and trust the players around her and go out and play with freedom and be a match winner, not trying to be a match saver, not trying to carry the team. And the other day was a great example where I think that's working, because Susie, she got herself to not a bad start, but she only got 15. She got out. We're chasing over 200. And she had to sit there and watch. The confidence she had, and also I had, and the rest of the team, was something that wouldn't have been there in the past. So it was actually a really cool day on Sunday. And Susie is the biggest little kid you'd ever meet. She's our oldest little kid in the team. The smile and joy she had after the game, knowing that this team has grown hugely under her as well. But she didn't need to be the big star on Sunday. She could actually just sit there and watch, and she had other players doing the job. And she's done brilliantly well for us this year, especially in the Super Match Smash. But I think if you ask Susie, she was really rewarded on Sunday, just, being able to be part of a team. But I also think she comes back and she plays very good cricket because, we're inspiring her to be better as well.